It's the Questions Hip Hop Trivia Podcast. It's another episode in our Making Illmatic series. I'm your host, Sean Kantrowitz, and joined, as always, is my co-host. It's dark where he is, and hell, damn, sometimes it's hot because he's in Florida. MidaZ the Beast, what's up?
Oh, man, chilling. Sometimes it is hot in Central Florida, but today was one of the 6 days a year where it's absolutely beautiful in Florida. You remember those days, Sean? It'd be like one of 5 days a year where it's like, could the temperature just be this every day and we'd be great? Today was one of those days.
Yes, far and few between. And we are joined with Niagara Falls' very own Jamal Gasol. Jamal, what's good, man?
What up? What up?
What's good? I had to drain muted. I had my daughter running through here on Roblox. She's being loud and shit, but it was good with it, man.
It's a family affair tonight. It's a family affair. We appreciate that. We're happy to have you on the show. The World is Piff 3 is available now. Tell the people a little bit about the album and what they can expect from that. For those who, I saw you put out a bunch of projects last year, starting off 2024 strong with a new one. Where does this one fit into the, catalog, as it were?
Right here, this is a continuation of my series, The World is Piff. This is the third installment. I got my label artists G Block Tez and Rico Tellum on here. 14 tracks, 12 solo tracks on here. I would say 11 actually without the skits, but just displaying my lyricism, my variety, my creativity, not being one track minded. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that on there. So it's out now on all streaming platforms.
Indeed. Talking about not being one track, talking about variety, talking about mad solo tracks and a few collaborative tracks. It fits pretty well with the album that we're going to be talking about today, and the album that you chose to bring into the Making Illmatic arena was DMX's debut album from 1998. It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
What the damn?
Yeah, classic. And both of our repertoire, I feel like these are classic projects, man. I've been getting nothing but nonstop positive, good feedback for this The World is Piff 3. And I remember when this album came out as a kid, man, it was one of those scary but hood relatable anthem party. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're going to get into this track list, man, because, It's Dark and Hell is Hot is a classic.
So basically what you're saying is The World is Piff 3 is the It's Dark and Hell is Hot of the Jamal Gasol catalog, is what you're saying.
I would definitely say that.
No.
I would definitely say that because I got a little bit of everything on there. Only thing I ain't got is the how's it going down. But I got
that's on the deluxe edition coming soon.
We'll talk about this more, but we also live in a world where artists don't need to have like the girl song as much now as they did in the 90s. But we'll get to that when we get to that song. What can we say about this record? I mean, this is the record that brought DMX into the world. I remember where I was when I saw the Get At Me Dog video, and I just was like, are they even allowed to be showing this on television?
Yeah.
Like, this is so grimy. This is so it was paradigm shifting. You got to think about the landscape of what hip hop was, especially coming out of New York in the 90s at that time. We are in like peak puffy, shiny suit era. There's definitely in the mainstream commercial world of hip hop, there was a defined sound, and this guy Earl Simmons comes in and he basically fucks the whole shit up. And he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna wear my shirt. I'm gonna bark like a dog." And the delivery here is crazy. Like this was a hell of a way to enter the music industry.
That's a fact.
The thing about this record, because it came at a time. 90, I love talking about 98 because, and Sean, we've talked a bunch about 98 on this pod, but we haven't done a 98 album in a while, so that's always fun. But the ill thing about 98 for me was like, this was a formulative year of me rapping, number one. Like 98 was a crazy, it was the most important year of me rapping probably up until that point and maybe forever, because it's when I first heard Cannabis. And Cannabis was 97, 98, but Cannabis was a formulative like thing in my rap universe. And with Cannabis for me came DMX. I remember first hearing the first Cannabis and DMX. I don't know if y'all was aware of the Cannabis versus DMX tape.
Yeah.
DJ Self.
Oh, no, I didn't know they had a beef. I didn't know they had a battle joint.
So it wasn't a real battle joint. What it was is that they was both smoking the mixtapes. They was both smoking the mixtapes. Cannabis was smoking, Clue tapes and, all the different tapes. And DMX was smoking all the different tapes too. Freestyles, exclusives, whatever. They were just, the streets was clamoring for those guys on tapes. So DJ Self did a Cannabis versus DMX tape. And side A was all DMX and side B was all Cannabis. And it was a bananas like thing. And then one of the major highlights on that tape was the Cannabis Noriega DMX Funk Flex freestyle, where they went on, they basically went verse for verse for like 10 minutes. And that energy and that like zest for rhyming was crazy for me at the time. I was like, oh yeah, this what we doing. You know what I'm saying? So I knew about DMX and knew about his energy and his spirit a little bit before the Get At Me Dog video. But I like that Sean brought up the Get At Me Dog video because nothing prepared me for the Get At Me Dog video, even though I knew about all that shit before the Get At Me Dog video. Because there's nothing like watching Rap City of the day, you know what I'm saying? And whatever videos are running on Rap City of that era, and then you see the black and white, just pure like gritty like unadulterated rage that was, and you was like, what the? Plus, we didn't know, even though I heard DMX on different things, when I had never heard a DMX song. And Get At Me Dog was the first DMX song I had ever heard. And I mean, it was, he was like, holy shit, what is going on? So yeah, this shit hit like a rocket, man. You know what I'm saying? And Get At Me Dog was definitely the first thing to pop off from that.
Jamal, what do you remember about your first exposure to DMX and this album?
Yo, I think we all had that moment, man. That Get At Me Dog video with the black and white joint and the fast movement and it was like a concert. Him and Sheik.
Yeah, in the
tunnel. Know what I mean? I remember seeing. Yeah, I remember seeing that video as a kid, man. And I don't know, that beat itself gave you like energy. Like that was some hype. You know what I mean? Yes. That jam was like an anthem as a kid. So like that was my first time hearing DMX. And then I would say Rough Riders Anthem was the one though that stop, drop. So like, you know what I mean? DMX was here to stay. I remember like thinking like, okay, he's gonna be here for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, and the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. So obviously the world was paying attention. It's since gone 4 times platinum. You got to also remember, we're not really going to talk about the second album in this episode, but 6 months later, he dropped another album that went to #1 with Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. It was the year that DMX basically took over the world.
That's
and rest in peace to DMX. Obviously, that was a huge loss when we lost him recently. But for a moment in time, man, like there was nothing more that felt more cutting edge and more sort of exciting than DMX. And this album was the start of all of that. So, critical reception. When the album came out, this album got 4 mics in the source. Rolling Stone gave it 3 stars. Spin gave it a 6 out of 10. It got mostly good reviews. We always like to say the point of this show is that we're taking an album that we think is really good and we want to make it flawless titanium classic. So what we do now at this point is we evaluate how many mics did we give it at the time and how many mics do we sort of have it at now before we try to give it the trim to 10 songs. So MidaZ, where do you sort of fit this album on the mic scale?
Yeah. It was crazy because even though this album hit like a rocket for me, as far as, the way it kind of came out, for me, the album as a whole didn't get a ton of burn like after it dropped. What I got a lot of burn out of a couple songs. And then for a lot of the rest of the album, I didn't really go to it all that much. So what I would, especially like Pun comes out, and then like all my listening goes to Pun after that in '98. You know what I'm saying? For that stretch.
Oh yeah.
So what I would really, for me personally, I would probably be looking at 3.5 is probably where I would have sat on this record. Back then, I do think there's a little bit of redundancy through some of the songs on here. So what I do think, what my prediction is that when we trim this from however many songs I forget is on here, from 19 songs, when we trim it from 19, we'll probably get to an album that's about 4.5 is my guess. But that's where I'm
at. For me, I definitely would have ranked this at a 4 when it came out, 4.5. I played the hell out of this album. I really played the hell out of this album. But then I probably didn't revisit the album much for, I'd say maybe a decade. Like there was probably a decade where I didn't really listen to it. And I've revisited it in recent years, especially with, DMX well, first DMX rising back into the limelight when he did the verses. That kind of like put him back on the public radar a little bit more. And then with his passing, I think a lot of people were revisiting. So I've revisited this album a lot in recent years. And I'd say I'd probably rank it out of 4 for me. I think it's really good. I think it's there just wasn't anything truly like it at the time. And I give a lot of points for that. And I do think also with the right trims on this, we could definitely get it closer to a 5. Jamal, what's your current ranking of the album with Mike's?
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you and give it a solid 4 out of 5, man. Because there was some joints on here, man. There's still some timeless songs on this album. You know what I'm saying? And it was a couple songs on there that we could have went without. You know what I'm saying? But with the momentum he had at the time and the visuals and the energy he was giving in the video, it's like. You know what I'm saying? He was given a persona that everybody wanted to be like, like before 50 Cent, think it was DMX. It was like the iconic style that people wanted to do like, you know what I mean? Like, but I would say even a little bit of Ja Rule got his style from DMX too. Like he was such 100%. An influence.
100%.
And this right here being a debut album with such an impact, like I think about the Woodstock video where he had the crowd rapping off this album, like, you know what I mean? This joint was very impactful. But I'm going with a 4 out of 5.
All right, so we're gonna dive into it. We go through each song, and it's a 3-man vote. So it takes 2 to keep or 2 to cut. And if we get to the end and we haven't cut 10, we'll have to do a reevaluation in our speed round. So first up, it's the first song. It's produced by Irv Gotti and Lil Rob. The song is called Intro. This is a crazy intro. Like the even before the beat comes in, even the ad-libs, and I'm notorious for being the guy who's like, let's skip the intro, let's get straight into the music. I don't want to go too long before the drums kick in. This is an exception to that rule because this is so iconic. He's like, dog, that's my man.
Yep, that's my man.
You know what I'm doing? You know what I mean? It's iconic, and I think it's just a good, like, it's almost like a prelude, like an intro. It's not a full song. It's just a little moment to kind of like get you acclimated. This is a keep for me. I vote to keep this one because to me, this just sets the album off so well. And it's a favorite of mine, despite the fact that it's short and it's not necessarily a full song. So I vote to keep.
I'm voting to keep. That's a iconic intro, man. Like I think of the Def Jam Vendetta game when I hear that. I'm like, dang, that was the intro of the album. You know what I mean? That beat itself was fire. I did not know till right now that Irv Gotti produced that beat. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I did not know that. That's fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's a keep for me. The intro's a keep.
Yeah, it's a keep for me too. I mean, I remember like there's just certain intros, and that's my man's. And you know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the intros that like even if Sean, even if it was clipped and that little intro part was by itself, it'd be hard for us to cut it. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be hard because that by itself is iconic. right? But then the joint that comes in right after come with so much energy. You know what I'm saying? And like really, honestly, it does a great job of setting the tone of like this what we about to do for the next 60 minutes or whatever the case may be. Like it just sets the tone in a real ill way and gets the album kind of running off at a frenetic pace. I don't think the album even runs the same if it don't start off exactly the same. So to me, it's a big key.
Yeah, that joint definitely gotta stay.
Yeah, gotta stay.
It's crazy. How did this guy make a random ad lib almost like a hook of a song? Like that's my man's like that's a chorus.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Really.
Like, everybody knows that. That's a hook. All right. Well, then we're keeping that. It's a unanimous keep. We're going to move on to track number 2. It was the third single from the album, produced by Swizz Beatz. It is Rough Riders Anthem.
About this track. Okay. I'm gonna kill the suspense. I'm gonna keep it, obviously, right? I'm not gonna cut fucking the Rough Riders Anthem from the fucking album. But I gotta say, this song, I have such a tough history with this song. And the reason why I have a tough history with the song is not about the song itself, but it's about what I feel like the song did for rap music after it came out. Because really, after this song came out is when we got 1,000 songs trying to sound like this song. And those songs sucked, most of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a lot of joints that was like fake ass Rough Rider Anthem keyboard beat joints that were like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And I had so much venom for Swizz Beatz early in the game. I was like, yo, I hate this dude for what he ushered in after this. You know what I mean? It was a ton of guys going, oh, we don't need a sample neither. We could just make keyboard ass beats, and they were trash. Like they weren't as good as what Swizz could do with that steez. So I just have to get that off my chest that I thought that this song was the set off for like fuckery for like 3 years afterwards and shit. Every album had to have a Swizz
way more than 3 years. Yeah, I mean, way more than 3 years. Yeah.
Every album had to have a Swizz Beatz joint, you know what I mean? And it was just horrible. But going back to this song, this song is, I mean, it's an all-time classic. To this day, the song rings off, and really it's funny because even though there were so many imitators of this song, there's no song that sounds like this song. You know what I'm saying? Like this song is like a flash in the pan all-time like specific song. You know what I mean? So DMX goes crazy on it. Again, it doesn't, even though there's imitators, nothing sounds like it except the remix, which, you know, even though it's not on the album, the remix is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
I like the remix with D Block.
Yeah. Because there was multiple remixes of this joint, wasn't there? If I remember, yeah, because there was a remix. I
think Drag On was. I remember hearing like Drag On one.
Eve, I think was it. Yep. Eve.
Was there only one though? Am I mistaken that?
It might have been a Rough Riders. It might have been a Rough Riders remix because I remember Drag On being on there.
Yeah, the Rough Riders remix was on the Clue tape. It was on a Clue album, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the song is crazy. Big key.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I ain't gonna lie. It was the little dumbed down DMX. It was definitely dumbed down. It has some little catchy, funny quotes, but the key essential to this video, I mean, the song is the video.
Another
the video pushed this song up. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like all the motorcycles and then the little news lady clip. It was like a good video. You got all your niggas outside. That was like the intro to D Block.
Yeah.
Before we knew D Block.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
It's the key for me.
Yeah. It's a keep for me as well. Just to echo both of your sentiments. Do you ever feel like you're watching the mob? Have you ever been like outside of a mob and you feel like you're watching the angry mob shift and you know there's nothing you can do to stop this mob because you're one person and it's a whole group of people? That's how I felt about this song, where everybody was like, yo, DMX is crazy. His first album is nuts. Like, it just came out. Have you heard it? Yo, like, him and Swizz Beatz make the best music together. And me, being a record nerd, I was like, hey, I love the first DMX album. There's only one Swizz Beatz record on the first DMX album, and it is the biggest song that X had on that album, and it's quite honestly the biggest song that he has in his entire career. But it did always, I think so. What's bigger than Rough Riders?
I think
Party Up.
What?
I think Party Up might have it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Party Up might be the one. If it ain't Rough Riders Anthem, it might be Party Up.
Yeah.
All right, another Swizz Beatz record, which to my point, this not only changed the perception of, oh, DMX and Swizz are like, peanut butter and jelly. You know how they rocked on that whole first album together. It's like, well, they didn't. They only did the biggest song on the album.
Right.
But then not only did that mean that all of hip hop was now trying to have the Swizz Beatz sound, but DMX albums basically became him and Swizz, and I was not really there for all of it. I had a copy of Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood that I bought the week that it came out, and I gave it away. It's one of the few CDs that I bought in my life that I just gave to somebody. I gave it to a girl I went to middle school with. I was like, I don't want this.
To a passerby?
Yeah. No. I mean, I knew the person, but yeah, it was. Look, I'm not mad at it for all the reasons you said. It's done very well, but what it meant for DMX's trajectory and for the trajectory of hip hop, it kind of was the Trojan horse that had a virus inside of it, and keyboard beats.
Keyboard beats, but it's a keep, man. You can't do nothing without it.
This is a very critical, unanimous keep that we have. Like we're keeping it, but we all have a big problem with it in an abstract way. All right, we're gonna move on to the third song on the album. It's produced by PK. The song is called "Fucking with D." Okay, all right. So,
this is gonna be tough.
This is a tough one because I always did kind of feel like this beat was a little bit of a like "Get at Me Dog" Jr. beat. It's very similar to the bounce of it. The chord progression is kind of similar, but it is pretty ferocious as well.
Jr.
Yeah,
it's ferocious.
Get at me, puppy. Get at me, puppy. We'll call it. Yeah, this is a reluctant cut for me because while it is really good and it goes, I think that the ground that it covers gets covered a bunch more later in ways that I think it sticks out more. So this is my first cut on the album.
Yeah, in my opinion, it drags through for the next track, but what song comes next?
The next song is a skit, and then Look Through My Eyes. But
we can cut it because Look Through My Eyes was on my list, on my personal list.
Okay.
Yeah, we can let it go.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I initially was gonna keep it, and you didn't have to do much to sell me, Sean. As you were talking, I was like, yeah, he's kind of fucking right. Because honestly, so when I said in the intro, this album, there's a bunch of redundancy on this record. And I mean, it is what it is. It's the way DMX raps. You know what I'm saying? Like, he likes a certain kind of song. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of his deal, which it's tough because that doesn't mean any of those songs are bad. They're dope songs. The thing is, with all of those songs back to back to back on the same record, it's like you don't need all of them. You know what I'm saying? You could do it. You could do it one here and whatever. So this is Get At Me Dog Jr. I mean, that's kind of the best way to look at it to me. But I also like the fact, right, that like, so when you look at like the track listing, right, I do like the fact that right after Rough Riders Anthem, you do have something like Fucking With D, or it could have been Get At Me Dog or whatever to sit right in that spot to be like, yeah. But I'm actually gonna go with both of you guys and have it as a cut, knowing that there's other songs kind of just like it. This is a what I call an introductory, like, get to know me song. There's always a get to know me song. So there's Fucking With D, Get At Me Dog. Those are like, this is who I am songs. And I get what you
saying.
You don't really need a whole bunch of This Is Who I Am songs. You really just need one of those. You know what I'm saying? So, and honestly, Rough Riders Anthem's kind of one of those too. So it's like, you don't really need 3-4 of those joints. So I would say fucking with D, we could cut it.
So is it safe to say that we are all not
fucking with D?
Not fucking with D. All right, we're gonna move on to track number 4. It's a skit produced by Dame Grease and PK. It is called "The Storm."
Yeah, that cracks me up. What people? Who? You talk about crackheads or some shit? Like,
yeah, we can let that one go. The conversation was a dud.
Like so many skits on albums from the 90s are like, maybe they have a replay value of once, and then you're like listening to this even now. I was like, I haven't listened to this in 20 years. Like I haven't listened to it in a really long time. The skits on this album are better than a lot of skits on albums from that time, but in trying to keep a tight 10-track playlist, there's no room for a skit. There's too many songs that belong in place, so it's a cut for me.
Yeah. I think it's a cut. The thing about some of these skits from the 90s, and I think the logic, I think in hindsight, of course, hindsight is 2020. These guys were really trying to be Scorsese. Like, you know, rappers in the 90s was really like, yo, we got to make a movie. It was really about creating a movie, on an audio movie experience. 72 minutes.
Right.
We want to, I'll bring you into my world, whatever. But the problem with a lot of these skits is that, to Sean's point, they don't have replayability. They do have initial playability. Like I come in, I come into your world, I experience your world. But once I'm in that world, there's very few rappers that have the kind of skits that you listen to more than once. You know what I'm saying? Like, you skip the skits after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of never go back. Like, I think about it, the De La skits, the Wu-Tang 36 Chamber skits, and then like the Redman skits, and like there's not a lot more that you're like, oh, I want to hear the skit. You know what I'm saying? You kind of jump over the skits a lot of times. So yeah, I would say a cut for this.
Yeah.
All right, then we're gonna move on to track number 5, produced by PK. It's "Look Through My Eyes."
Yeah, I'm gonna set this one off. Yeah, this is a keep for me. Love the vibe on, love the vibe on it. This was the joint where you really got introduced to what I call the Tupac nature of X. Like, this is where the Tupac energy and this is the type of joint where those comparisons became real, because DMX had the power, like Tupac, to just make you feel him. Like, yo, feel me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a phenomenon. So like, Jamal is a renowned MC, you know, myself. There's a thing when like you get into like it's one thing to rap on records, but like if you've ever been in or around a cypher, right? There's certain rappers who rap really good, and you hear them in a cypher scenario, and they're like, yeah, okay, he's really dope. You know what I'm saying? He's really dope. And then there's other rappers that you hear, as soon as they start rapping in a cypher, people start walking up to the cypher like, yo, who's that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's like a magnetism, and like DMX had the ability to bring that magnetism everywhere he went, whether it was rhyming for just 3 people in the corner or going to the studio. Like that feel me was always present for DMX. And it goes beyond just like, I think some people might say the voice, it would be some of it, the delivery. It's all of it. It's the whole thing. You know what I mean? He's had
the full package.
The whole package, bro. And he just had the magnetism. And it's a really Tupac thing, because like, I don't know. I'm a huge Tupac fan. I can never even tell you what it is about Tupac that just draws me so much. It's just, he got the thing. You know what I'm saying? And X is the same way. Like, X just got the thing. And this was one of those joints, Look Through My Eyes, that showed that a bit.
Yeah. You know, the way he plays with his voice too, he does so many melodic things. He really is the full package, like we were saying. Just like the patterns, the tone, obviously the delivery is one of a kind and really wasn't emulated well or at all by many people. having said that, as through my producer lens and my producer hat, I always kind of hated this beat. This beat did not move the needle for me.
You ain't like the beat?
Jamal's eyes went crazy. Like, wait, what?
Look, this happens.
Nuts.
Nah. I mean, look, I'm not saying that the piano wasn't nuts, but it wasn't nuts to me. And it's my vote. So my vote on this, although, I think that there are some more emotional moments in this album, and this is kind of a little bit more introspective X, and we're going to get that later. So for me, it is, even in hearing it now, when I heard the playback on, I was like, this is good. It's better than I even remembered it, but I gotta do a semi-reluctant cut on this. So Jamal, you are the deciding vote here. Are we keeping or cutting Look Through My Eyes?
Buddy, staying. Yo, this was really like, I'm a D Block fan, so like this production was like that sound to me. Like he was really the origin, like a Jadakiss and Styles and them to me. Like, yeah, they was with Diddy, but once they got over with him and Rough Riders, they was way better and more fit into the sound, man. So I'm this the keeper for me. Like DMX hooks was crazy.
Yeah,
you gotta give DMX his credit. His hooks is crazy.
Yeah, his hooks was crazy. And
100%.
That joint right there was smooth.
I'll tell you, Sean, and I know you always you like to look things a lot from a production lens, and I do too for certain joints. But I think this is a really hard album to look at on the production side a lot, because a lot of the album, the production sounds a lot the same throughout a lot of the record, even though it is mostly Dame Grease and, PK. But I do think that it's the X of it. Like, I always hate when I talk to people about Tupac and they're like, yeah, I don't like Tupac. I never liked his beats. It's like, have you heard Tupac though? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, let me say this. Even if I don't like this beat, what X does on this beat elevates the song so much more than if it had been a lesser rapper on it. Then I really would have been like, "There's nothing redeemable about this." For me, even listening to it now, I knew that I wanted to cut it, but when I played it, he somehow still had me questioning whether or not I wanted to cut it. So like that definitely has some credit,
runs, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
You get out the car, come back in, like, you know what I mean? This is one playing, you gonna let it rock.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to move on to track number 6. It was the first single. We've already talked about it a little bit on the intro to this episode. It's produced by Dame Grease. It's Get At Me Dog featuring Chic. All right. Is there a better, more intense debut single for an artist?
Oh, man.
And granted, I know that DMX did put out a record called Born Loser that came out, a few years before this album, but like
it's like the Mobb Deep situation. The Infamous is their first album. I don't care what nobody says. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm saying, like, is there anything that can match the ferocity of coming out? This is your first single?
Oh my God, bro. Nah, I can't. And it was so, to Jamal's point, the video was so impactful, but also such a
intriguing.
Yeah, so like, what is it? Because it didn't look like anything that was running on Rap City or on MTV at the time, like aesthetically.
Yeah, this is definitely different.
It's the black and white, the energy, like just moving quick. You know what I mean? He's got he's shirtless, like it's dark. Like that was the thing, bro. It was really like, whoa, like who is.
It was like the Blair Witch Project of hip hop videos, because when you saw the Blair Witch with the shaky camera and it looked like kind of like janky, you were like, what am I seeing? Am I even supposed to be seeing this? How did this get out? When I saw it on BT, it was like, this doesn't even look like it's finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was so raw that it's like, how did this even get out? But it was just like magnetizing. You couldn't take your eyes away from it.
It looked like some behind the scenes shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yo, that video was so fire, man. Like I think about it, like that was when the video come on and you turn the volume all the way up days. Like you turn the TV up for this one. You know what I mean? BT might got a surround sound. You blast that in the house one time. That song was one to grab you to the TV videos. Like, Get At Me Dog was fire.
Yeah.
That's staying on my list though, just to clarify that. So that's definitely staying.
If we were all like, okay, so we're all gonna cut it, right?
even Sheik little punch ins is fire.
Yeah. It's great.
I'm keeping 2, so I don't think
niggas want to be killers.
Yeah. I'm keeping 2. I don't even think we need to spend a whole bunch of time talking about keeping this one.
Yeah, it's a unanimous, hands down, fastest keep we've ever addressed.
As if you needed more proof, he's not fucking around. The Last of the Mohicans by MidaZ the Beast is now available on all streaming platforms. Now, the rest of the planet has an opportunity once only afforded the most elite of our society. Featuring a ridiculous lineup of producers and some of the nicest MCs alive today. The Last of the Mohicans is now available on all streaming platforms. Go. Listen now. Run the numbers up, nigga. The fuck is we talking about?
We're going to move on then to track number 7, produced by Dame Grease. It is called Let Me Fly.
Interesting relationship with this record because... All right, so shout out to going to the kind of high school that I went to, right? So I went to high school, middle school, high school, in white schools, right? It was one of them scenarios where I was one of, there was like the black group of kids, and then it was a lot of white kids, right? And DMX was a darling of the white kids. Right? Like DMX was, the white kids loved DMX because he was, DMX was like a rock star. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we talked about it at all of the white kid meetings. Like he came up a lot, and we decided collectively that we were going to keep him. It was voted on, and then every year we renew it.
Okay, got it. Yeah. He was like a rock star, bro. And this song used to annoy the shit out of me back then. Because it was like the white kids at school got a hold of this damn DMX album, and this song was they fucking song. Ringing out their lockers, this is the joint at the football practice. This was like there was just, and they loved this song, and I used to be like, y'all don't know nothing about hip hop, that was back at that era for me, but. So this song used to annoy the shit out of me. Like, this is if I ask you what's your favorite song and you say it's this, I can immediately tell you don't love rap. You know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of my shit. With that being said, the song is not bad at all. It's just I hated it for that reason back in the day. That was my back in the day hatred for this. But this is kind of like what became the standard, like for how DMX kind of did songs for like 5 years after, album cuts and shit like that. It kind of laid the groundwork. It was early in the groundwork laying. So it's tough for me, man. Like
I have no idea what you're gonna say. Yeah. Like with this intro, I don't know if you're gonna cut it or keep it
right now. With all that being said, bro, I'm gonna keep it because there's other songs on the now in hindsight, I'm gonna keep it because there's other songs in here that I don't love as much. I'm being strategic for the rest of the picks.
I feel you. Okay. This is okay. Wait, you want to go or should I go?
You can go first because I may be the tiebreaker.
Okay, all right. This man gets it. He knows the dramatic arc of how this episode goes. He's like, all right. Again, X has great hooks, and even though this is a little, sing-songy, I think that's part of the appeal. If we're going to compare X to Pac, Pac also did the sing-songy thing at times too, and got melodic with his delivery. But similar to how I felt about Look Through My Eyes, Let Me Fly is a little too low energy for me. It's a little too. This is just album cut material for me. It just feels like it's not a highlight. It's filler. Yeah, it's filler. So for me, shout out to all the white kids who went to your high school. I probably wouldn't have gotten along with them anyway.
You definitely would not.
Sure. I would not have. This is a cut. Yeah. This is a cut for me.
Yeah. I just found out you were white the other day, by the way.
I know. It was all over the blogs.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest. Yo, based off MidaZ's decision, I never looked at it like that. But yo, you are right, man. That song definitely has that vibe of like some the white emo kids, and stuff, like the white kid that was like, I could just see this going on at certain bars I know out here. Like that song will be playing in there. Like of all DMX songs, I didn't know they like that.
Yeah, they loved it.
I mean, like, yeah, man, it's a strong cut for me, my boy.
I didn't know where you was going either.
I had no idea.
Let that go. It's kind of like like I said, a filler song. It's like something to feel. It got a little melodic feel to it, so it's a little different from the average DMX, where it's a little aggressive, but it's like I can live without it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to like typecast artists, but I kind of think that DMX does aggression very well. So I don't necessarily want to hear him, oh, this is the more subdued, melancholy DMX. Like, I don't think that's where his strengths are. So the other thing that you just had me thinking of in talking about this, when you go to Wikipedia and look up this album and they give you like, sometimes they'll tag the categories for what an album is, like 90s, East Coast. They call this a horrorcore album. Is DMX horrorcore? Like,
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah?
We didn't even get through the rest of the songs. It's some shit on there.
Yeah. That's facts.
Like, he's not somebody who I instantly think of as a horrorcore artist, but I mean, certainly the second album, he's covered in blood. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to argue with that. But
on that album, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's how he got blood on his dick. Yes.
No remorse.
Yeah.
I don't even think he said he fucked a corpse. He said, I fucked your corpse. Or
no,
did he say,
corpse.
Oh, he said, okay.
Yeah. Nigga.
Yeah. It's a little difficult to revisit in my older age. What? All right, we're gonna go on to track number 8 then. So that is a cut. Track number 8 is produced by PK, and the song is called "X Is Coming."
Yo, shut up.
This was like great timing that I posed the horrorcore question, and then the song comes out. It's like, I guess this is he definitely treads.
Speak of the devil.
Literally, speak of the devil. Horrorcore,
He goes crazy. He goes crazy on this whole album. He's definitely rapping for his life on the whole record, but this one for me is a cut. Which is funny because Sean knows this, but Jamal, I'm gonna tell you, bro, I don't got no love for nursery rhyme hooks. I'm out on nursery rhyme hooks. I'm dead on them shits. I don't want no nursery rhyme nothing in my rap songs. You know what I'm saying? I don't like repurposing nursery rhymes for rap shit. It's lazy to me. It's always been something that I'm like, I'm good. So it fits one of my tropes. I don't fuck with nursery rhymes in rap songs, so for that reason,
I ain't mad at you. What you thinking, Sean?
Sounds like what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I am thinking. This is just a song I never want to go back to. Like it again, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I just never have had the urge, like, yo, let me put on the kind of like down tempo, dreary sounding with kids on the chorus. Like it doesn't check any of the boxes for me. And again, that's not to say that X does it poorly. It's just not. It doesn't fit in the canvas of what I want to hear from X. Maybe I'm painting him as like a one-trick pony in terms of like the type of sound and aesthetic, but yeah, this is not a song. Even when the album came out, I was like, oh, I'm gonna skip this. Like, it's just not for me.
Yeah, that just gave me the creeps when I was a kid during that song. Like, yo, change that. You know what I mean? Nah. I know, like, that's just scare the hell out you. You take the garbage out at nighttime and you think about that song as a kid. You be scared as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah,
your mom's is like, take the trash out, and you have your headphones in, and the song comes on. It's like, I'm gonna wait till the next song, then I'll take the trash out. Like I'm not going outside.
You know how many Walkman is broke from being scared out there walking at night?
Yeah, X
those
is coming.
ABS sensors yet?
Yeah. Oh shit, the ABS sensors. Shout out.
Right.
The skip-proof
joints. Man, when them shits came out, my life changed, bro.
Hell yeah, them joints is very versatile now. I can be a little crafty.
Yeah, that was a technological breakthrough, the ABS. We were like, yo, we're living in the future now, baby. All right, we're moving on to track number 9, produced by Dame Grease. The song is called one of the greatest, in my opinion, like storytelling songs from this era. I fucking love Damien. One of my favorite songs on Ready to Die was Gimme the Loot, because I love the back and forth and him, changing his voice and the interplay between these two characters that Biggie was portraying. And this is more of that for me. It's a great hook. Even though this, we just said that we didn't like songs that were creepy and leaned a little more horrorcore, and this is literally about him talking to the devil and then being like led astray by Damien. I'm gonna cast aside what I said in the last 2 songs. This is a motherfucking keep for me. This is like, not only for me, this was like, oh, X is like a really great writer too, and it's not just bravado and aggression that he's coming with. He's also like putting together an interesting angle, and yeah, I really, really like Damien, so it's a keep.
Well, it's a keep for me. It was definitely a scary song when I was a kid, but very tolerable scary. Like, you wanted to hear it. It was like, okay, well, what is it type shit. That was, and the beat is fire, man. And like you said, that hook, like the snake, the rat, the cat, the dog, like, you don't forget that. Especially, that's why I said when that album came out, I was maybe like 8, 9 years old. So I remember hearing this album. It was fire. Yeah, this is a keep for me, man. I like the whole suspense of it. It was definitely not X is coming for you. Like,
right. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. Contrary a little bit to what Sean was saying, I never was a big fan of the like back and forth with yourself on albums. Because I always used to think, like, this is a great opportunity to get somebody else on the song that could be that other voice and say that other stuff. But this is a great doing of it. You know what I mean? Like, he did it well. The other voice is not like how it is on some other albums. It's not, like, intolerable. Like, it's dope the way he did it. And the whole angle of the song is crazy. I mean, talking to the devil, you're like, yo, this dude is... He's out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, who does a song about talking? Yeah. Like, especially with so many songs in hip hop was about talking to God, and like a lot about God. He's like, nah, I'm gonna talk to the devil. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yo, this dude's crazy.
Of all people.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it definitely brought that type of like, he was big about bringing that mystique to the character of DMX as well. But yeah, this is the key for me.
And I also like how it doesn't really have a resolved ending either. It's not like he beats the devil or that, like, he escapes the devil. It's kind of, it ends eerily where he's just like fucked because he got everything that he wanted from this character who was, introduced to him. And he says, now I see there ain't nothing but trouble ahead.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like maybe the DMX origin story,
Yeah, real talk. He definitely was going through something at that time, though. I'll tell you that much. He came up with that kind of creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had a horrific childhood, as we learned about through like his books and like, the interviews and stuff that he did. Like this was definitely not an act of like, oh, he found a way to be edgy and he's just going to portray this edgy character. We saw the roller coaster of his life. Definitely brought him through some crazy situations.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a fact.
All right, we're going to move on to track 10. This was the 4th single off the album, if I'm not mistaken. It's produced by PK. It's How's It Going? Does wearing a scarf make you a thug?
Immediately.
Because he seemed to know instantly.
Immediately.
It's like, it wasn't just cold outside?
Nah,
like,
that's how I knew she was a thug.
With the 5411s.
5411s on.
The Reeboks right there, you know what I mean? The double strap Reeboks.
Yeah, I'll say this joint is a keep for me. It's a keep for me because a lot of quote unquote girl songs on records, especially in this era, were so cheesy.
Super, right?
And this wasn't. This was a good, like girl song, if you want to call it that. It had a good narrative behind it. The beat is dope for those type of songs, you know what I mean? And I thought it was dope to hear him be a little different. Like the aggression was not there the same way. He didn't have the edge on his voice, but he still sounded like a real street dude. like simultaneously. So I thought, if you had to turn in all your records with a radio track or a girl joint, like this satisfies kind of both sides of the coin a bit, I thought. So this is a keep for me.
Yeah. It's appealing, but not pandering, I would say. It reaches the audience it's supposed to reach, but it doesn't feel like he's selling out or compromising his identity. It's a keep for me too. I always thought it was great. I think the hook is amazing.
It's an amazing hook.
Yeah. And again, like, there's something about the production and him being able to turn that on that, again, I'm going to draw the comparison to Pac, where Pac was able to go from that super, shirt off, thug life tattoo craziness to then like make songs where he's speaking to women in a way that it felt like a real conversation. Yeah. It felt believable. So for me, it's a keep as well.
Well, I'm going to say that is my favorite DMX song of all time.
Oh, wow.
How's it going down? It's my favorite DMX.
Oh, so you was just waiting for one of us to start talking shit. So.
I was waiting for y'all to get to this song. Like, let me hear what they think about this. They cut it. This is the best DMX song of all times, man. I think this is one of the first Mary J. Blige songs for men. Really on some harsh reality of life shit. Like, we all know the lyrics to the song. If you listen to the song, that's some like real gutter shit. It ain't like you said, no cheesy, happily ever after story. Like, you see the video how it ends. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, dang, that's one of them joints. Like, it make you think. Yeah. Like, DMX, how's it going down? Like, this ain't the album with Slippin', is it? No, Slippin's on
Flesh.
Yeah. Flesh by Flesh.
Okay, I was gonna say like you know what I mean? Slippin' had a vibe like this, but this Sunday music right here, man. You get in the car and let this ride. You know what I mean? This is a keep for me.
Yeah.
A unanimous keep, which means we're moving on to track number 11. It's a skit produced by PK. I just want to know how some of these skits even were created. Like, what was the seed behind this? How do you write a skit like this?
It's Mickey.
It's got to come from the Mickey impression, right? Somebody in the studio must have just been saying, "It's Mickey."
He's gonna shoot the door up.
Yeah.
Shoot the door up. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You know what? For me, we probably could let that rock because it's funny. We can keep it.
Wow, keep for Mickey.
I think it's funny. I think we could keep that one, man, just because it's a filler and it's funny. We ain't keep the other skit, and we do gotta at least get some little narrative in there.
Solidarity for the skits.
They just blew a fiend through the door. Like, come on, man.
I feel you. It's not the worst skit in the world, but it is a skit on a 90s rap album, and because of that, I'm voting to cut it. Sorry, Mickey, I'm shooting you through the door. MidaZ, you are deciding. You are deciding. Vote. Do we cut or keep the Mickey skit?
Nah, I think we cut it, but we only. It's a good skit. It's a good skit. I just got to give it credit for
this. It's a good little quick funny skit.
Yeah, it's just one of those skits that, again, I wish would have been at the end of the song before it, and then it would have lived really nice. But as its own track living on the record, yeah, I think we got to cut it.
All right. Well, R.I.P. to Mickey. We're going to move on to Crime Story, produced by Irv Gotti and Lil Rock.
I kind of know where you're going to sit, Sean. I think, but go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, go ahead, Sean. You can go first.
All right. This is famously used by Ice-T for High Rollers. So this was, almost like an homage, you could say, to the Ice-T song. I always fucked with it, actually. I really liked it. I enjoy the storytelling. I like the production on it is cool. It's not doing anything totally new to High Rollers, but it's a cool sample. It's a cool little flip or replay. My vote is to keep. I like Crime Story. I think we need at least one, sort of non-devil involving storytelling joint on there. So that's why I vote to keep.
I'm gonna go with the keep too. I agree with a good storytelling on here. It was a good story, a little creative, and the beat was mellow, so it gave you a vibe with it too. You know what I mean? I would give it a keep, man. I'd definitely give it a keep.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it too. I'll say this though. I was just happy on this record to get to a joint that was super sample driven since I'm a sample head. So like a lot of this record is not like a straight like loop or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And this I've always loved this sample itself. The Ice-T joint years later when Alchemist and Prodigy used it, you know what I'm saying? Like this has always been a vibe for me. So yeah, big keep for me. And it's just a little bit of a change of pace, a good change of pace on this record, because you could get to a place where a lot of it starts to sound kind of similar, and this is a little bit of a change of pace that I appreciate.
Yeah, the sparseness of the production almost speaks to the fact that he's telling a story. Yeah. If he was telling a story and there was music playing, he'd be like, "Yo, turn the beat down for a second. Like, let me just tell you what happened." Yeah. And so that's kind of how I always interpreted the vibe of this track. So we got a unanimous keep for Crime Story. We're moving on to track 13, produced by PK. Yet again, it is "Stop Being Greedy," the second single from. Where do you start? Where do you fucking start?
Oh my gosh, some violin.
Yo, this is one of the illest beats. This beat's crazy. And yo, so let me give DMX some songwriter credit here. Like DMX was so dope at hearing a beat and knowing how to play with the different parts of the beat. You know what I'm saying? So he's got the way he raps over, and then when it breaks, all nightmares. And then, like he's got a different.
Yeah, he's got a whole different cadence, right?
Man. He knew how to do that at a high level, man. Like that was definitely a thing that DMX did very well. The beat is it's so like when you think about Stop Being Greedy and Stop Being Greedy, you know, brings this certain energy. This right here, it just feels so like you just instantly screw your face up and you like, yeah. And then, yo, what an ill, like, you been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. Just keep it real. Because, like, for him, if you know DMX story and coming from the gutter and just being, like, starving, you know what I'm saying? Like, watching everybody else, like, get it. And he's like, yo, y'all been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. Keep it real. Give to the needy. Like, it's such a, I don't know. This song is perfect to me, man. It's a perfect record.
Yeah, I'm going for a keep on that one, man. That's a strong track. The energy, as soon as they come in, it's them violins and then like that. What is that piano? Yeah. That's like the church piano organ.
Like an organ,
that shit just sounds like the Mortal Kombat.
Yo, board. For real, it do sound like a Mortal Kombat board. Facts.
That shit is nuts, bro. And then he come in with the cadence, and then it's catchy. Like, you know what I mean? You can dance to that. Man, that's some goon music right there. You be in the kitchen washing dishes. That's like that's an all around track right there. The energy, like that's football music right there. They warming up to that.
Oh yeah,
in a college somewhere right now.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's a keep. It's just great songwriting too.
It's phenomenal songwriting.
Whether they arranged the beat first, or he was writing the rhymes and then they made the beat around it, or the beat changed like that and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna change up like the character every time it switches." It's just very well executed, especially for something that could on paper sound like it would sound very gimmicky. It doesn't sound gimmicky at all. He pulls it off because it's convincing. And DMX had conviction. He was able, whether he was doing the girl song or whether he was doing something like this, he made you believe and he sold you on it. And yeah, this is great. And to your point, MidaZ, yeah, this really was him kicking in the door to the shiny suit status quo of New York. Get at me, dog, and stop being greedy. He was basically just telling everybody to sit the fuck down. Yeah. This is different, and I'm going to actually take over the fucking world right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And he did.
This song.
Yeah, Rough Riders definitely replaced Bad Boy. I agree with that.
It's coming.
Not only did they replace Bad Boy, but they fucking poached from Bad Boy. They were like, yo, Locks. All right, don't worry, you're coming over here.
Stars.
Yeah. We're not calling you Locks anymore. We're rebranding you. D-Block.
Yeah. I'd be greedy. One of my favorite DMX songs of all time. My second favorite song on this album.
Have we already hit your first? Would that be okay, a little prelude. All right, well, we'll get to that eventually. Hip hop in the 90s. It was incredible. It was groundbreaking. And let's be honest here, sometimes it was weird. Gold Rush is Stupid Fly Media's latest hip-hop podcast. Each week, your host, Sean Kantrowitz, that's me, will be uncovering a different topic from the golden era of hip-hop. Some of it will hold a special place in your heart. Some of it will be a subject you may have forgotten about. And some of it we're still looking back and wondering, how the hell did this happen? And we won't be going on this journey alone. Each episode features in-depth, brand new interviews with the artists, producers, eyewitnesses, and key behind-the-scenes players of the golden era, including Graham Poobah, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, DJ Evil D, Fat Lip from the Far Side, Hank Shockley of the Bomb Squad, Young MC, David Faustino, Merce, and many more. We all have great memories about 90s hip-hop, but you've never heard a podcast that looks back at it like this. Gold Rush. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and follow at Stupid Fly Media and at Hip Hop Gold Rush for more updates and exclusive content. We're moving on to track 14. It is produced by Dame Grease. It is ATF.
Man,
the sound design on this joint is crazy. Like this, like for as much as everybody says that they want to make their album a movie, this is pretty damn close. Like you feel like you're in the reel right now of what's happening. Yeah,
he even sounds like he's out of breath. Like he did that. The vocal performance on this record. All right, so talking to and like Jamal, I know like as guys who rap, you know what I mean. Like having a great vocal performance is not easy, to be honest.
Hell,
you know what I'm saying? Like
you trying to sell it? You trying to sell it?
100%. Like you're trying to sell something. It's like having that's a perfect vocal performance. You know what I'm saying? Like he sold the concept and the idea exactly the way he was aiming to do it. Kick in the door, ATF. He's, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit is insane, bro. Major keep for me. I don't know. I'm looking for what y'all about to say, because if y'all go opposite, we got beef. But this shit is crazy.
Well, I'm gonna go with this is a fire story tell. Truthfully, the lyrics save this song by a mile. Because as soon as the beat come in, back in the day, them 3 6, I probably would have skipped it if you'd have let that rock before he came in like that. I probably would have skipped the song.
The beat is weird.
But the lyrics, the beat is weird, but the lyrics save this song. Like, it's very cinematic and visualizing mentally. I keep it. It's a good track. It got an up tempo to it too.
Yeah. So yeah. It's very frantic. You feel like you're right in the thick of it. It's a keep for me as well. The beat is pretty bad. Like I don't think anybody's ever been like, oh man, I wish I had the ATF instrumental.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to.
yo, you got that.
What's the link?
I would maybe throw it on if I wanted to, if I was psychologically torturing somebody and really leading them through a haunted house or something, and you have 5 minutes to find the key to the safe and I'm gonna play ATF on loop, you know.
It already got the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire drop. Dun, 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 dun.
It really does. It's now I actually want to hear the instrumental just to see what it really sounds like when you take away all the elements that are good from it. But yeah, having said all that,
deal or no deal.
DLMX. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. It's a unanimous keep, and we are gonna go to another Dame Grease produced song. It's For My Dogs featuring Big Stan, Loose, Casino, and Dragon.
One shot.
Lice.
Yeah, lose it.
This is the obligatory, you got to get your homeboys you know? All right, guys. Yo, you heard Jamal got a record deal? Yo, Jamal got a record deal, y'all. And yo, man, let's just keep going to the studio. He gonna put us on something. You know what I'm saying? And then this is the joint.
Y'all have to be in the studio that day. Yo, you want to get on this joint? Hell yeah. I don't know how Big Stan is. That was my first and last time hearing a Big Stan.
I was gonna say, does this make me like? Am I not a super DMX fan that some of these guys I never heard from again, or I never knew about?
You know, Dragon the homie. Everybody knows Dragon, but Big Stan, the other nigga, they homies, they still in the hood. That's me right here, nephew.
Yeah, and you can tell, you can tell too, because they got rap names like they might have got those rap names that day in the studio.
Yeah, we're gonna call you Big Stan, my nigga.
We don't call you Big Stan.
You're always shooting dice. We'll call you Casino, because you always shooting the dice. Yeah, it's almost like he was working on the album for months. All of the homies really wanted to get on. They were bugging him, and finally he broke down. And the last week he was like, "All right," he's like, anybody who shows up on Thursday, fine, you can be on the album, but like, stop fucking asking me about this.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
Def Jam. Pull up.
Yeah.
I don't. To be honest, I don't even know the DMX verse on this song because I've never heard this song to its entirety.
Nah.
Like I've never completed this song.
Hey,
it might be fire.
Hey, Def Jam was like, "All right, so the album is done." DMX was like, "Nah, we gotta have my man's on the album." Like, nah,
my man's in there.
Nah, I'm gonna get my guys got to get on the album. They're like, "No, well, we think you have everything you need." Nah. Like,
he's like, the album doesn't work if we don't have a verse from Loose, okay?
Yeah, man.
If Big Stan not on the album, it's not done.
It's not done. Yeah, that song's got to go.
Shout out to everybody following a dream, though. Keep doing it. We're gonna move on to track number 16, produced once again by Dame Grease. This is, we've got like 8 Dame Grease joints in a row here. I Can Feel It. I'm surprised that this wasn't the song that the white kids at your high school were more into. This is like the Phil Collins.
This was probably right after it. Let's be clear. This was probably the next.
They were queuing this up afterwards, but you'd already walked away by that point.
This is a cut for me. So, again, anything that you cut from this album, there's no, to me, major detriment to DMX or going against DMX as an artist, because his artistry really shines on everything on this record, and this song included. But I'm not into this beat. I'm not into the vibe on this, and it's a cut for me.
I had it on my list. I ain't gonna lie. I like how he used the Phil Collins sample. You know what I mean? I do like that sample a lot, but after hearing it now in the cypher and this with the homies, it's just like, yeah, I would skip this in the car. It
would change the vibe in the car real quick and shit.
Yeah, it definitely changed the vibe in the car. Like, yo, who got this song on?
It sounds incredible after the big Stan verse that preceded it. You're like, all right, sign me up for whatever. This is, so it's a keep for you and it's a cut for MidaZ. Or are you cutting it?
No, I'm letting it go. I gotta let it go.
Okay.
I had it. That confirmed it.
Yeah, it's a cut for me too. I'll say for me, this is maybe my favorite of the mid-tempo, introspective, staring out the window for 4 minutes, like DMX, joints where it's just like kind of like he's bearing his soul a little bit to you, but it's still not. It's just not amongst the cream of the crop. That's all I gotta say.
That's a new category for us. The introspective staring out the window for 4 minutes song. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's raining, but it's not heavy rain, but it's like a light rain, and you're just fucked up.
Staring out the window catches you at an angle over the shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
100%. There might be a shadow being cast on your face a little bit. You don't see the entire face, but yeah, it's introspective. Yeah. Shout out to I Can Feel It, but we are clearly not feeling it. So we're gonna move on to track number 17. It's the prayer skit. Kind of wanted to play the whole thing, to be honest.
I see why it's horrorcore. You imagine going to somebody's house trick or treating and they just got that playing. That would scare the shit out of you.
Oh,
that's his prayer song. Scary as hell. DMX never had that, prayer in the car. Like, nah, that shit sounds scary.
Wouldn't have been a good pastor. Would have been a very scary pastor.
Yo, I'm gonna keep it.
How many songs we at though? How many
Okay,
songs we at?
okay, hold on.
I was about to say, if we at 8, it stays because we need a skit.
Okay. We've got 9 right now. So only room for 1. I'm feeling pretty conflicted about this.
So Jamal, we typically go with your feeling on it. Not so much if you try to count the songs, go with your feeling on it. Because what we end up doing is if we go over, we do a lightning round to kind of go back and weed out something.
So we got to take out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just to give you a thought on that.
I'll pass on this one. I'll pass on it. I can go without it.
You
keeping it?
I'm keeping it. This became a thing. This set up DMX's career. I mean, he would do it at every show, do a prayer. You know what I'm saying? And cry on stage and the whole deal. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a thing. And there's a lot of, even though there's no music, there's a whole like vibe, energy, passion on that. To like Sean's point, it was playing just now. And I'm like, you gonna let it finish? Like this shit is.
I almost felt disrespectful.
Like, okay. It was definitely some shit though. He definitely was talking on there.
Yeah. I did not intend to keep it when we first started, but even listening to this, I don't know. It's like I am thinking about all the moments of him on stage performing this, reciting this, and crying. What we would call
iconic.
Yeah. What we would call passion back then, which we now probably recognize was manic depression.
Yeah.
But like it's real shit. I'm gonna vote to keep it. I'm gonna vote to keep it because it just feels like it does provide an interesting character. Whether or not it's gonna make it if we do go over, that'll be seen. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it.
It's gonna be hard to figure. What's the last song?
There's 2.
But we got 2 more. We got 2 more to go.
Oh, it's 2 more.
2 more.
Oh,
yeah.
See.
2 more songs to go. So we're going to move on to number 18, produced by Dame Grease. It is The Convo.
His ad-libs aren't the best.
God is talking to you, and you're like, all right.
Yeah. I really like that song, B. That on this album, that was one of the joints that and again, I'm a sucker for joints that are more obviously sample based. You know what I'm saying? So like those are always the shits that I lean towards the most from this album, and that was one of them. Again, X never fails with a vocal performance on this record. Actually, revisiting this album earlier this week and also listening to it even as you play it right now, it just reminded me of how dope this dude was as a vocalist, man. He's a really amazing vocalist. So this song is another. He had mastery and control of his vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew where to have inflection, where to come down at, where to have an ad lib. Like all of vocally, he has great performance on it. And this song was one of those times that he was really able to do that kind of in spades to me. So for me, it's a keep.
Keep.
I was like, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yo, the joint fire. That joint fire. That's the vibe, son. That joint fire. Like the intro. I mean, the beat itself is dope, and I like his cadence on there, man. His tone switch is so like what's the word I want to say? Like structure. Like he knows the perfect timing of how to come in with a certain tone on tracks. Like, and that's what makes the song. Like I said, his lyricism was like so like crafty, man. That joint fire. I'm listening to like, dang, I forgot about that song. I was thinking about this other song. But I know it's the last song now, but that joint fire. Oh, that's a keep for me. I don't know. We definitely might have to. Yeah,
we have to double back a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to double back.
Man, I like that.
It's kind of tucked away, like, you know, to have that so close to the end, but it's so powerful. Yeah. And also, I'd feel like weird about keeping a song where he talks to the devil and not keeping the song where he talks to God. I think they both are kind of like the bookends to this album in a way, where he's like really doing that range. And it doesn't sound corny. It doesn't sound corny that he's doing the voice of himself and God. This is a keep for me. I just love everything about it. It's great. So we're going to move on to the final song on the album, produced by Dame Grease, featuring the Lox and Mace. The song is called
Niggas Done Started Something. Yo. Favorite. That's my favorite song on the album.
That's your favorite song?
That's my second favorite song on the album.
Yo, like, so I first heard this song on one of the mixtapes. I remember this was a mixtape, darling. This joint, and because remember, like in that Clue tape, doo-wop tape, like kind of era of like '97, and then going into '98, the Lox and DMX were like, I'm talking like they was on every tape that was coming out. You know what I'm saying? And this joint, bro, was so ill coming on those tapes. I just remember being like, what the fuck is this? Who are these guys? Who's, you know what I'm saying? Who's the Lox? Like, who are these guys? Like, this shit is crazy. The craziest thing about this song to me is that, first of all, every verse on this song is crazy, including Sheik, who is not my favorite rapper.
Right.
But every song on this shit every verse on this shit is crazy, but X probably got my least favorite verse on this joint. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of crazy. Mace verse on this is stupid.
Yeah.
Mace with crazy. Jadakiss goes stupid on it. Like Sheik sets it off properly. So
Styles went in too.
This shit is wild, B. So like this is an ultimate keep for me. And I love that it's the end of the album. Like it's such an ill like last song on an album. Like, and Sean, we've been doing this a lot of times. They don't. A lot of these artists for these albums that we do, sometimes the ending doesn't, the landing doesn't get stuck. You know, they don't stick the landing when you get all the way through the record. And this sticks the landing. This is a great last song on a record. So for me, this is a major key.
Yeah, I sometimes felt thematically that it was weird that this was the last song, because sometimes on the last song on an album, I don't want to hear a bunch of guests. I want it to be like the artist's final statement. And if he had ended the album with the convo with God, that would have been like really crazy to end it with. But this is almost like the Marvel film post-credit scene where it's like the Avengers are all there. This is a keep for me. Yeah, it's a keep. The beat's crazy. The performances are crazy. It just captures that moment in time. And was honestly the endorsement that, not that X really needed it at that time because he already had such a great buzz with what he was doing, but we talk about a couple times in this episode how this album came about and disrupted the Bad Boy empire, but he had the Bad Boy empire on his album. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it wasn't even like if he was dismantling it, he was kind of doing it from the inside, or he'd already like. Well,
remember, we also got 24 Hours to Live on the Mace record.
I was just about to say 24 Hours to Live, and then you got to think, son. This album right here was the beginning of the Rough Rider takeover. Like, you think about that. He got Mace on this album, son.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
People forget that Mace was on the first DMX album. He got D-Block, and then when In the Eye We Trust come out, he got Jay-Z on the album, who's the next biggest thing. Ja Rule's on the album. Like yo, they are, and then DJ Clue was even on that album.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, that song's a keep for me. Like, that's my second favorite best song on the album.
That song's crazy.
Well, we have reached the end of the album, but we have a problem, gentlemen. We have more than 10 songs. We're going to have to sweep through, and we'll do a lightning round where we casually nominate what we would cut. So let me tell you what we've kept so far. We've got Intro, Rough Riders Anthem, Look Through My Eyes, Get At Me Dog, Damien, How's It Going Down, Crime Story, Stop Being Greedy, ATF, Prayer, The Convo, and Done Started Something.
Okay.
We have 12 songs, so we got to cut 2.
All right, I'll nominate. I'm going to nominate. I nominate ATF.
Nominate one.
Okay.
Nominate one.
I nominate ATF.
You nominate ATF. What's your reasoning?
It's just not as good as everything else that we have to keep. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. I'm looking through this, and I have another. I'll nominate only one. I have another one in my head, but for whatever else is left, it's probably the least of all of them. Still good though.
We got to take away 3. You said?
We got two.
Oh, 2? Yeah. ATF could go. And
yeah,
because I like the convo better. I think that's a little better storytelling. I would let the crime story go too. I let crime story go too.
Ooh.
I feel like convo is pretty good.
Okay, so we're losing ATF. I can agree to that. So you're saying we lose crime story. I'm kind of stuck between crime. Well, first of all, I know you guys are going to say no, but I was already clear on this. Look Through My Eyes can get the fuck out of here, my eyes. But I know you guys. I know you both made your case for why it's a special song to you, and while you're wrong, I'll let you have it.
There's between that and crime story for me. Look Through My Eyes.
Well, there's also the prayer, which
the prayer
doesn't have
also
a beat.
some.
I mean.
But it's still an essential piece to DMX's catalog.
It is.
And it's the first one.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
You know, I got to give it his credit.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so crime story. I think I could lose crime story. MidaZ, what's your pick for your second loss? For the other one we got to cut.
All right. I'll co-sign crime story only on the understanding that it is an extreme kind of change of pace by being so chill on an otherwise not chill album. And for that, I'll co-sign it. But I probably would have, if it's between crime story and Look Through My Eyes, I might have went over to Look Through My Eyes too. But I can be okay with crime story.
I mean, if you're feeling more strong about Look Through My Eyes, you already know how I feel about that.
I already looked through your eyes as I thought about it, but I'm gonna go with crime story. Let's cut crime story.
No, we have to honor our guest as well. He made a very passionate pledge to Look Through My Eyes, so I don't want to slay one of your babies, you know. Like,
hey man, you know, it's cool. I just feel like that right there is like that was like a start of a sound right there, man.
That's fair.
That production itself.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so we've cut it down to 10. So our final Making Illmatic edition of It's Dark and Hell is Hot is Intro, Rough Riders Anthem, Look Through My Eyes, Get At Me Dog, Damien, How's It Going Down, Stop Being Greedy, Prayer, The Convo, and Done Started Something. That's a pretty top tier 10.
That's a tough
fellas.
record.
Yeah, that's a tough straight playthrough right
straight
there.
playthrough.
That's a straight playthrough.
So the question that we have to ask ourselves now is that we evaluated it with the mics beforehand. Now that we've trimmed it to 10, what is the mic rating? Jamal, you go first.
I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. And the only reason that's not getting a 4 or 5 is because of the Rough Riders Anthem. It doesn't match the rest of the tempo of the album. It's a classic song, but audio wise, play through it. It is like you can go through the drive-through and just let this play music. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't trying to really listen to it. Like, this is passed through. But Look Through My Eyes, you might turn that up in the car. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it was one of the albums, I think he had that song playing in the skit. Like, they was in the car listening to that song. So, you know what I mean? That song is 4.5 mics.
Yeah, I'll give it 4.5 as well. It is really fucking strong when you cut it down to the best parts of the album. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if Rough Riders Anthem is necessarily the reason why I think it doesn't achieve full perfection. But maybe it is, on the other hand. It's weird. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but it stuck out in a way that obviously worked to his benefit because it became one of his biggest songs, if not his biggest. So yeah, I think we improved this album for sure. It's a 4.5. MidaZ.
I'm gonna co-sign both of you guys. I think we did improve it. I think it does move to a 4.5 for me too. You know what, to ask an additional question to myself, like what would make it a full 5? Because he does a lot on this record. I mean, he's got storytelling, he's got introspection, he's got straight bars, he's got a posse cut. Like, it's kind of all there. I almost don't know what else. Honestly, what else would have put it over the top for me would have been another joint or one of the joints just having like an all-time classic beat. Because one thing about this album is that there's some really good beats on this album, but there really isn't like a lot of like all-time classic beats. To Jamal's point, or to Sean's point, I forget who said it. There's not a lot of beats on this album that you're going, and you'll pull up that DMX beat so we can rap. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of not on here. Sir. And I think, like, for instance, if there was I'm just pulling a rabbit out of a hat, but if there was a New York State of Mind or a Mass Appeal or a, like if there was like an all-time classic beat on this record, I think this 10 songs becomes a 5.
Yeah, I get that. There's classic songs on here, but the songs are not classic because of the beats. It's because of what X did on the beats. It's in spite of the beats
sometimes.
The beat set a tone, like you said. I get it.
Yeah.
But the lyrics definitely play a part.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we want to hear what everybody who listens to this thinks, so make sure that you scream at us about what your top 10 picks are on social media. We've got links to all of our handles in the show notes. Jamal, we're at the start of 2024. What can fans and listeners look for from you in the next coming year?
You're going to expect a lot of content, man, more merch, more music. My website about to have more merchandise and inventory, more restocks at jamalgasol.com. And like I said, man, I just got a lot coming this year, man. I'm loaded.
Go.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This was fun, man. We got to do this again sometime.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate y'all having me tonight.
Of course. Thank you, brother.
All right. We'll be back next time. Peace. Thanks again to Jamal Gasol for joining us on the show. Check out links to all of his things in the episode show notes. Hit the Patreon link in the show notes as well. Big shout out to the Patreon, the Stony Island Audio Network, MidaZ the Beast and Zarism for making the show's theme, and thank you for listening. I'm getting pretty close to announcing some live events soon, so be on the lookout for that, and I will see you next week on the Questions Hip Hop Podcast.